命抜かんな。
Welcome to another episode of Times Square Kung Fu. I am your host, Frankie Balboa, aka the Shogun Supreme.
And I'm Peter Glagowski, Associate Editor over at Flixus.com. Today we're going to be talking about Radiance Films' new box set, the Shinobi no Mono series.
Yeah, it comes with the first 3 films, and it comes out next Tuesday as of this recording. And of course, as you guys know, man, MVD Entertainment Group hooked us up with this freaking amazing review copy. I mean, look at this thing from Radiance Films. So definitely check them out. We put a link for you guys to order. And I didn't know we had a third host up in here, man. What's going on, Peter?
Third, fourth, and fifth.
Oh my God, you got the gang with you, man. But yeah, this is gonna be a fun episode, and we're very excited because before we started shooting this, me and Peter spoke about the resurgence we're getting from a few boutique labels releasing Japanese films, but we're gonna save that for another video. But we excited. Peter, you and your buddies are excited?
Yeah, I think Donnie is super excited.
All right, man, let's kick it off, man.
So the interesting thing to note with the Shinobi no Mono series is that it was the first time in Japanese cinema that ninjas were not only portrayed as human, but as more realistic. A lot of the portrayals beforehand, although they're limited at this point, were kind of fantastical. The ninjas beforehand were shown larger than life, all-knowing, mystically imbued, whatever. In this series, which starts with Shinobi no Mono in 1962, we follow the exploits of Ichikawa Goemon, who will be a very familiar name to people in the know. And as I said to Frankie, I was like, wow, this is like, I mean, obviously it's still a movie, so it's not 100% realistic, but it's much more grounded than what you would have seen a decade prior.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely put it like this, guys. Like Peter mentioned, like the way ninjas always been portrayed in media and anime is like super mythical. They got superpowers and magic and all this other stuff. But one thing, like we're fans of martial arts films, and you heard of, ninjutsu style. This is way more of a grounded approach. I mean, you do see some wonky stuff, like rewind effects.
Again, it was 1962, so reverse shots and there's little leaps of logic, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's a way more grounded approach. But the first film, which came out in, 1962?
Yeah, which is, yep.
By Sato Yamamoto. The first thing that Peter said, because we saw the DVD first, the Anime Go DVDs we're going to talk about the subtitles later about that version. We noticed right away, and it's been a while for me since I've seen it, is the scope of this film, the cinematography.
Yeah, it's very, because the plot of the first 2 movies is almost directly connected, as in that 2 starts basically immediately after the first one. It follows Ishikawa's, or I should say Goemon's, life over a course of like 15-ish years, I think. It's just wide-reaching. You see all of his training. You see the early trials and tribulations, the efforts that he went through that are somewhat based on the actual historical figure. And then for the second movie, it kind of shifts a little into historical fiction in that he squares off with Oda Nobunaga and wins. Although,
and who does it play, Nobunaga? Who? Come on, let him know.
Tomisaburo Wakayama, who, for whatever reason, in every Japanese movie Frank and I have been watching lately, there he is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of myths about how Nobunaga was killed or who killed him, and I guess one of those myths is Goemon.
Yeah, and one thing is we're gonna break it down. We're gonna break these films down in flow. The first one, it's great, but me and Peter were confused rewatching it because there's so much going on, especially with freaking the old guy Ko Nishimura.
Oh yeah. Who was his master? And I thought, like, did this really happen? Like, is this and I mean, again, these movies aren't documentaries. They take the myth of Goemon and expand it to make sort of like a more mythological lore. It is true that Goemon did cheat with his master's wife or whatever the heck, and then that kind of caused a rift between them, but I don't think it happened.
But there's also a political thing happening while this arc is going on. It's not a back and forth, and you're like, what is going on? But once it came to its conclusion, I mean, we were talking, like, there's a film that once we know the little tidbits, you could, you know, replay value like a game.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth and nuances that on your first watch, you're just going to be confused about because, I mean, especially if you're not super into Japanese history.
I mean, we got Hattori Hanzo in these joints. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and I was like, yeah, because they mentioned the Iga clan. I'm like, is Hanzo in this crap?
But he's more prevalent in the second film because we were confused in the first one. It's episodic in nature the way it feels like, because there's like 10 or 12 of these films. It's a bunch of them.
Yeah, and the main actor, Raizo Ichikawa, I don't remember when he stopped doing these, but he died relatively young, so they had to continue without him.
Yeah, but the second film is way more streamlined and is all bombastic.
Yeah, there's not only more action, but there's a little less focus on the political aspect of the story and more on Goemon's personal conflict. I mean, the first movie has that too, but it's building up the two factions so that you could see them collide in war in the second movie.
Right, but yeah, the second film is fantastic. It's way more action. And I mean, it starts off, we like, because after we finished watching the first one, we're like, what's next? Now, the third film.
Yeah, this isn't like the Bounty Hunter series where the third movie is like a wash. I don't think Shinobi no Mono 3 is that bad, but compared to the first two, it feels slightly disconnected since the whole plot of Goemon going after Nobunaga and then dodging death is over.
Yeah, the second one, it feels like, okay, now that Nobunaga is dead, now we got the residue of everything happening, but we see more of a family turmoil more than anything, especially with one of the characters' son. Like, they sent him to Korea and all this jazz, but it has a nice mellow tempo, never goes up, but we do get treated to something we didn't see in the first two films, and that is stealth invasion into the castles.
Yeah,
which was freaking awesome.
What's interesting too is that while obviously the first two movies are ninja based, the third one is the one that really starts showing a lot of the techniques that the ninjas use. I mean, he doesn't walk on water because that's obviously fake, but he does the stuff with like the water shoes, so he's kind of gliding over it, and he's got the little pipe when he's underwater.
Yeah, we get a tease in the second one with the when he's in the roof with the string, but it's well written, the third one, but it's not like, it doesn't have the weight as the first two films.
I mean, I guess after that second one, you have to bring the stakes back down, because if you keep escalating, eventually it would just be like, this is too much.
Yeah, but with that said, Peter, you highly recommend this box set?
Yeah, if you're very interested in the history of ninjas and whatnot, and there's I wonder what the special features go over in this, but yeah, I would say these are very good movies to check out. They're a slice of, I wouldn't say too early Japanese cinema, but like, you know, that mid 20th century cinema that Japan just, you know, they had such a style and flair, and they're all in black and white too, so it still looks kind of vintage.
I mean, the first film when we saw, you know, our main man, like I told you, freaking the one that plays Kizaru. Boy, that old man looked at so menacing. It was.
Yeah, and that like, final showdown in the forest there, just like,
it was nuts. And I got to skim through the booklet because this box set just arrived a couple hours ago. Like, something happened post office. I should have had this 2 weeks ago, but you know, things happen. I saw a little segment here, a little section of the booklet that I didn't know about, and I was telling Peter before we recorded that the main actor didn't know how to do martial arts that well, so there's some nifty editing to make it look very well, and it looks amazing the way they did it. So, knowing Radiance, the extras, you're gonna learn a lot. because Tom Mess put the book together. There's 3 writers in this, and they go through the history and everything. And of course, Fidelity in Motion did the authoring of the disc, and the transfers were done by the company themselves. You know, so again, this looks beautiful. It's an amazing box set, and you know, while I'm yapping right now, you know, I'm gonna show you guys I'm gonna do a quick little unboxing and all that jazz. But I highly recommend this, especially the output as of late from Radiance and other labels releasing a lot of Japanese films. It's a good time to dive in, because I know this channel, it mostly focuses on films from mainland China and, you know, Hong Kong, and a few times we throw modern Japanese films. But you guys definitely got to support this, because there's more to cinema than Hong Kong films. You know what I mean? And that could be said about anything. But you got to check the Japanese output, because believe it or not, a lot of these Japanese films influence a lot of your favorite Hong Kong directors. You know? Yeah,
and even the reverse. I mean, famously, the One-Armed Swordsman series is influenced by Zatoichi.
Yeah, so I mean, everybody, you know, borrows from each other and gets influence here and there, man. I mean, films touches everyone, regardless of the language. But I highly recommend this. Definitely pick it up over at MVD Entertainment Group. We're gonna put the link in the description, because these Radiance films, man, these box sets, limited editions they've been doing, been selling out like crack.
Yeah, I think the Bounty Hunter did get restocked recently, but they definitely
it's gone. Now it's only on retailers. You got to go through Amazon, or if MVD got any copies left. I need to pick one up for you, man. But yeah, pick it up, man, because there's a lot going on with films now. We're in a good place. We already went through the late, you know, I said like late 2018, 19 to the 2020s. We got a good wave of Hong Kong films coming out, which we're eating very well. You know what I'm saying? Because we're getting the original audio, we're getting booklets, posters, beautiful art direction. I mean, everyone is killing it. Now we're getting a wave of Japanese films. So I'm happy, bro. Like, let's go, man. Salute to all you guys doing this work, man. But Peter, wrap it up, son, with your homies.
What do you think, Raph?
Oh my
I think Raph's a little starstruck. But yeah, check it out. Shinobi no Mono's great. Goemon's awesome. And until next time, make sure to like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, man.
YouTube jazz.
As a boy Bruce Willis said, man.
See you later.
Like, subscribe.